All right, let's get right into it. So, I wanted to do something about this or say something about this for a while now. I just, it's been bugging me, but I just haven't figured a way to like completely put it together, I guess. Although I have touched on certain things, I've left traces of what I mean to say. I just haven't spoken full extent about this since like my last slew of Aquarius age videos is when I believe I began talking about this type of stuff. So let's get into it. The Super Bowl that had just passed, right? When the Rams played the Cincinnati Bengals. So, I no longer watch sports like that. So, but you can't help but ignore or see, you can't help but see promotions for the Super Bowl. So I see them, I see who's playing, right? And I'm like, okay, I predict that the Rams are going to win. Now, the reason I predicted that the Rams are going to win is because I've seen and I received downloads on how this nation, America, the United States, is fixing to incite war, homegrown war. And now I know that's a far reach, right? You might want to know who the players are and stuff like that, and unfortunately I can't pinpoint that. I can't detail that for you. What I can say, or what I would say in reference to that, is you should probably follow the money trail, with like all wars or whatever the case may be. But again, I don't know exactly who. I'm not making that type of claim. What I will say though is, again, I've received downloads that implicates this nation being more invested in wars at home. We've noticed that the president or the present administration has backed out of Afghanistan, backed out of Iraq. Some of you may be thinking that the stuff going on with Putin is the real next big thing. I, for one, my opinion is that that is smokescreen. It's more based along the lines of the gasoline and the neighboring area that used to belong to Putin and them back in the days anyway. So I think it's more about a geographical thing for that side of the world than it is for a global play. I think America's response to forced, coerced electric vehicles now is a sign of that. Like, America's not caring about what they do with their oil like that. Like, now they'll make the switch. Like, before they didn't want to, right? But it's like now they'll make the switch in response to that. So that's just a small download to show you where I believe that they're at with that, right? But I've been getting these downloads, I'm telling you. And so when it comes to predicting the Super Bowl, I'm just like, well, the Rams is going to win this because the Rams represents war, right? The Aries represents war in astrology. So I'm like, watch. See, now I've always heard, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about theories of conspiring and how rituals take place right before our eyes, especially a lot when it comes to media and the entertainment industry, right? So this is the one time that I said, I'm going to pay closer attention to this because there's probably some truth to this. I'm a skeptic. I'm a big skeptic until I see it really be happening, which is odd because I come up with all of these different conclusions and stuff, right? So at least I'm interested enough to investigate it. So I pinpoint that. I say, yo, the Rams are going to win because America wants war. America wants war at home, and this is going to be like their initiative. This is going to be the ritual that shows that. So, lo and behold, the Rams win by 3, right? That's not all, though. At the halftime show, right? At the halftime show, this was an unprecedented show, right? This is more along the lines of gangster rappers performing at this Super Bowl, right? So I don't usually name the celebrities and stuff like that. I am going to do this time for educational purposes, so just hang on, right? So we see these gangster rappers take the stage, and it's said to be the biggest and the best halftime show ever. I didn't see the show either, but this is what I'm hearing. This is what I read, what I researched, and stuff like that. So here it is that this suddenly happens to take place after Jay-Z, pretty much, how do I phrase this without being biased? But in some sort of way dodged around Kaepernick taking a knee and came into the league to appoint people to perform at the Super Bowl, stuff like that, right? So that happened, and then this Super Bowl happened. So I guess that would be a testament to what the man stated that he would do, right? So here comes this halftime show. Gangster rappers are up there. Now the reason why I'm putting emphasis on gangster rappers is because of this. This is brought up. The reason why I'm doing this now is because PNB Rock, rest in peace, condolences to his family, passed away. And it was due to a gunshot to the chest, maybe a few, I don't know how many, during a robbery. So they wanted to get him for his jewels and stuff like that. And that's why the altercation took place, to my understanding, according to the blogs, the vlogs, and things of that nature, right? So this is the reason why I'm putting emphasis on gangster rappers, and this is not to put a stigma that gangsters already have on them. I'm not talking about gangster rappers at that. I'm just talking about gangsters in general. I've been on both sides of the track. I tell y'all time and time again. You know what I mean? So in my day coming up, right, growing up, and the reason why I'm putting emphasis, again, this is about the emphasis on gangster rappers, is because they are the influencers of the younger generation, at least. You know what I'm saying? I would gather that those of you who are 35 and up have grips enough to understand that even if this isn't entertainment, that you should not be listening to what they're saying as some type of directive to behave in a gangster manner. But when I was coming up, we had TV shows like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, right? I think Robin Leach was the name. He would, show, it was sort of like MTV Cribs, right? We show all of these luxurious places, how much they cost, who lived there, things of that nature, right? And then apart from that, you had the soaps, right? The soap operas that were played during the daytime, and a lot of times, if you were too young to actually go to school at that time, you would be so privy to watch that with your parents, right? Or whoever was the stay-at-home parent, or whatever the case may be. And it dragged, and I was just like, when are the cartoons coming on, right? But in that time, if you know anything about the human development of the brain, the first 7 years of your life, you absorb a lot of that information that gets imprinted in your brain, to the point where you get to believing that is what the stature or the socioeconomic status of yourself and your family should be. Now, in these soap opera shows, right, they were like, you see big houses in Long Island, for example, the mansions, the mega mansions. You'll see, like, Dallas was actually a name of one of the soap operas, right? So you see the skyline in Dallas when it comes on, and, big city life, the dudes in corporate suits and stuff like that. Not a lot of urban, and let me rephrase that. I want to say urban. Not a lot of minority skin tones in these programs either. So that was sort of a disconnect when you be at home and you reflect on your scenario. But it's important to put emphasis on that too. You know what I'm saying? Because it has a point with the influencing factor. So after school, you had let me finish about the soap operas, right? So once in a while in these soap operas, you'd see a murder, right? Once in a while, you'd see a murder, and you'd be like, oh, they threw Jeff off of the boat. Or he allegedly fell off the boat, and now it's like some wild insurance claim being, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's treacherous. However, I'm putting emphasis on that part because when you compare it to the type of entertainment that's being viewed today, that's being distributed today. Let me not even say viewed. That's being distributed today. As far as, it is not even daytime television anymore, right? It's anytime you want television. But there's a lot of vulgar material. There's less suspense, and there's more vulgarity being produced and distributed as far as entertainment goes. And I'm putting emphasis on this again. The color tone has switched. The skin tones have switched. Only reason I'm making this a factor is because it's been made a factor in the place where I live, which is in the United States of America. They've raised us to at least be aware of this thing called race and being separated and segmented by it because of thought processes or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Their theories about different races and stuff like that. So don't think I'm coming from a place of malice. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So again, the skin tones have switched. The internet is here now. The amount of television and media outlets have multiplied vastly since I grew up, and it gives more access to these programs that are produced that have this vulgarity, right? So it must be emphasis put on that because it plays a part in how people are behaving today. I spoke about this before. The activity is accelerated because of the internet. You understand? So it's like as soon as something happened, like even in the hood, in the ghettos growing up, like when things occurred, they had to get around by word of mouth. You know what I mean? If you wanted to get up with somebody, you had to like see them at a particular place. Like it wasn't so easy to get people's phone numbers and houses and lay in the bushes for them and all that. Today though, and people are so laxed and so ready to give this information publicly to strangers at that, right? You meet people on the internet, you get excited about them. Oh, new people, this, that, and the third. They might not live too far, but they live a little bit far, but you don't know how close they could travel and stuff like that, right? You just giving people the benefit of the doubt because you're curious and you want to be adventurous, you want to explore, which I don't think that you should be closed-minded to that. However, this is still new, and I don't think people fully understand the lengths that people can and will go when it comes to taking something from somebody, getting money in some type of way, and things of that nature, these economic things, right? Especially new ones that wouldn't provided the opportunity before because you had to do way more investigation in order to do this. So with the internet here, not only do the gangsters have information at their fingertips, the police also do as well, which I'm going to get into as well. So I just want to make sure I make that profound in this discussion, right? That the influence of entertainment has increased vastly and it's more vulgarity there. So I can tell you something about the internet that is making this even more dangerous, right? Of course it has its good points, but I want to put emphasis on the danger because of the context of this message that I'm trying to send, right? When gangsters do stuff, they do it for notoriety today. And I'm not saying that, I'm not even placing blame on this new generation like it's only them. We did it too. You understand what I'm saying? Like me, for one, when I first started out in crime, I was a jukes boy. Like I was a stick-up kid. I would take the money. You know what I'm saying? That's how I started off. It wasn't out of jealousy though of for what someone else had or whatever the case may be. It was out of necessity. I'm gonna keep it a bean. If it was something else, I'd keep it a bean on that too. You know, it was out of necessity, and then it became a repeated behavior to where it became simple or simpler than selling a drug. And it made selling drugs just look corny to me because I'm like, why sell drugs when I could just wait for them to sell it and then I'll take it? You understand what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Eventually I would go into drug dealing, but that's how I started off, right? So apart from that, when you're starting off, and I mean to say this, when you're starting off young in a life of crime, again, your brain is not developed, and I'm not giving excuses for the young, but I am saying that this is a real thing, that it is something that happens to where learning or just hearing right from wrong is not enough for young people. And I know a lot of y'all been young before. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when y'all snuck out that, even if you only snuck out the house to go to a party, you know what I'm talking about. So, but gangsters, my point here is gangsters build reputations. So even in my era, we did stuff to build a reputation just to let people know, look, we're not the ones to be playing with, or we're not the ones to be playing with either. Y'all may not be the ones to be playing with, but we're not the ones to be playing with either, right? So somebody got to make a movie, somebody got to bust a move to let that be known. And again, word will travel by mouth. There will be some witnesses there. Maybe they'll say it from a first-hand account, whatever the case may be. Maybe somebody get locked up, go to jail for it. Going to jail at a young age when you're a criminal is a badge of honor. All right, it's not frowned upon now like when you get in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. It's not frowned upon like it is at the upper age, right? It's looked at as, oh, you got a skill set. You understand what I'm saying? It goes on your resume. Ignorant as fuck, I know, but I'm telling you how it is. So gangsters don't care. So now you got this internet, right? Internet wasn't live like it was when I was coming up. Internet is giving gangsters immediate access to distributing their reputations instantly, and it can be worldwide. So imagine how this persona, imagine how this reputation is expected to blow now. When I say blow, I mean to do well, to be successful. As wild and crazy as that might sound, I'm for real. So I'll even tell you a little story, right? Short story, real quick. I'm in Flatbush one time, years ago, right? I used to live in Flatbush. Now, if y'all know from New York, if you know, you know. Flatbush, wild as hell. Wild as hell, right? So I'm in Flatbush. I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts one day, and I got my laptop with me. I got the doofy HP too. Like, it was that long ago. It was about, I don't know, it was like 2007, 2008, somewhere around it, maybe 2009. I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts. I got my laptop open. I'm doing work in there, right? Got my coffee with me, whatever. Now this dude come in. He a gangster. How I know? Just put it together. I know. You know what I'm saying? He come in, and after a few seconds, I'm getting leery. That fast, because first he's not ordering nothing. He's looking at the menu. He's not ordering nothing, and he's looking at me back and forth. Me, menu, back and forth. So in my mind, I'm like, I know he don't think he about to press me for this laptop. First thing that popped in my mind after I kept seeing his body language. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not panicking. I'm not getting hype. I'm just continuing doing what I'm doing, handling my business, which was some like real business that I had to take care of. So I just wanted to switch my environment instead of being in the house all of the time. I like the whole coffee shop thing. I bounce around a lot from different Starbucks to Starbucks. So I'm just like, yo, I'm in my hood. Let me just go to the Dunkin' Donuts, which is probably not, I suggest don't do this. You understand what I'm saying? Because I learned a valuable lesson from this experience. But nonetheless, dude came and sat down next to me. So I'm sitting right here like I'm sitting right now, right? He sits over here in the seat across from me. And he's still looking up at the menu like he's going to order something, but he don't. And then he look at me. He look at the menu. He look back at me. And he around, I'd say he about maybe 7-8 years younger than me, by the look of it, right? And he like, he said, it's a camera in that thing, ain't it? I said, yeah. He said, yo, what he said? He said, so is it on when you're not recording, do you think? And I was like, yo, that's a good question. You know what I'm saying? I said, I've read something too. And, you know, I'm doing college work and stuff, but I'm really having a conversation with dude. I'm not scared. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm aware. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I just read an article not too long ago that the cameras are actually on when you think they're not on, when you're not recording. And sometimes people are like putting tape over the cameras and stuff while they're doing other things because they don't want to be spied on by the government or whoever's in control of this, right? It might be the company, it might be HP doing it, you know? So I tell him that, and he like, word, right? He like, word. So he was like, do you mind real quick? So I'm like, what? I'm peeping what he doing. I'm like, nah, he wants to get in my camera so he can perform. So he gets in front. I'm like, hey, he gets in front of the camera. He like, yo, you think they could see me? I'm like, maybe. And now I'm laughing at this point, right? So he start throwing it up, all kind of stuff. I don't know how to do it, you know? But he throwing all that stuff up. what he claiming this, that, and the third, and he like, just in case, you know what I'm saying? In case they ever come for me, they already know I'm sending a message now to the feds, whatever. Talking all that. And I was just like, I'm laughing, you know what I mean? And then he might have spent like a few more seconds there, and then he took off. He left. You know what I'm saying? He didn't buy nothing. I told you, he didn't buy nothing. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm still like, he might try to spin back and, you know what I mean? Try me for a laptop, but I just stood there, finished my coffee, did what I had to do, packed it up, and then I left. Right? Boom. Story over. But I had to tell y'all this because I want y'all to know how this generation is excited by the internet. And before I go all one-sided on this, or I want justice for PNB Rock or whatever the case may be, you know, I do think that situation is sad. It's very sad, but you should hear both sides of the story, and I could pin this astrology to it. You know, Aries is the young, Aries is the baby of the zodiac, so this is really who I'm speaking to. I see, 18% of y'all between 18 and 24 years old. Like, so I'm really speaking to y'all, and I'm speaking to the parents who are watching this to give you some advice on what to tell your kids and how to look out for the signs, or at least to know that between ages 14 to 28, expect your children to be off the meat rack, to be off the chain, to be out there, you know. Alyssa Sharp did a wonderful, her best work of last year, hands down. A video on Saturn return. You gotta watch this video. It talks about the square cycles of Saturn, and it details it. The first 7 years, this next 7 years till you reach 14, then you start merging away from your mother and your father. You start developing into your own. Please pay attention to that video, all parents and you kids, so you'll understand. Like, you may feel like there's a force over you that is kind of like coercing you to rebel or do something that you feel excited about, that you don't want your parents to be in control of and stuff like that. And this is because life is trying to teach you a lesson young. However, it doesn't mean that you can't take heed to what the elders tell you. You understand what I'm saying? Or the examples that you see. You don't have to experience them all for yourself. You really don't. You know, because I'm telling you this right now. These youngins, right? They get in these situations to where they feel outcasted, whether it's by their immediate community, their family members, their relatives, their school peers. They're going to feel this feeling of being ostracized in one of those areas. And in doing so, they're going to look for their clique. They're going to look for their clan. They're going to look for their gang. They're going to look for their people who understand them. And I'm going to give you another brief story. Like, when I was in the streets, when I was coming up, and I was in that age range that I'm talking about, the young age range, that Aries energy, I used to tell myself sometimes, look, I got 3 open cases, 1 foot in the street, 1 foot is in the penitentiary again. So I'm like, yo, I know I'm going to jail. I'm going back to jail soon. Back to jail. So I might as well just wild out, take care of all my enemies and all of that, get it done with now, because, you know, I'm in a situation to where I can't even stop and go back and get a job now, because I've accumulated this lifestyle that I refuse to let go of. Like, I can't afford it with this whole 9-to-5 thing that y'all trying to kick to me. And back then, minimum wage was what? Whew. Understand? I was wrong, come to find out, because eventually I had to do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But peep game. I ended up going back to prison, back and forth to prison, back and forth to prison. I stopped going to prison at 25. Got locked up. Was facing 96 years. I beat 12 out of 13 charges. Got convicted on the 13th charge. Got sentenced to 3 years. I did 2 out of the 3. I came home when I was 27. 28 is your Saturn return. During my Saturn return, I got out right before my Saturn return. Got my own apartment at my Saturn return. First apartment in my name. You know what I'm saying? I had an apartment in other people's names and shit. Doesn't count. Got an apartment in my name at my Saturn return. Right? Again, you watch Alyssa's video, it's going to show you. You could look at your own life and replay it back, detail to detail, and it's going to take you through everything that's said in that video. So at my Saturn return, I became an adult. I became responsible. I became free to be me. I'm an authoritative figure now. That's what a Saturn return means. You have now become an authoritative figure. You don't have to be under the guise of everyone else, but those lessons you have to take as learning. You understand? And that's how it goes. So my point there is that sometimes young people will do the most outrageous things just because they don't know where home is. They don't know where themselves are. They don't know who they fit in with, who they connect with. They're finding their way. You know what I'm saying? So it's part of the reason why crimes get so heinous and they get so upscale, is because these people don't have nothing. They ain't got nothing to live for. I'm gonna just keep it a beam with you. A lot of people running around here ain't got nothing to live for. They haven't seen anything else. The education system has failed them. They failed the education system. However you want to peg it, it's happened. You understand? So gangsters want to expand their reputations via the internet, especially when their mindset is like that. Especially if they got any type of buzz in the streets already. They're going to keep doing it, especially if they're getting money while they're doing it. Follow me? So if it gets stopped by them getting apprehended and being put in prison, I told y'all, I wish prison on my worst enemy and whoever. Like, if you got to get corrected, you got to go to the Department of Corrections to get corrected. And a lot of times you'll just end up correcting yourself because you'll be embarrassed. That's what happened to me. I was tired of, I all of a sudden felt embarrassed. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this shit no more. This shit is embarrassing. It took 20-something years to be like, yo, this shit is embarrassing. I'm not doing this no more. I feel embarrassed. So I would only hope that someone could be afforded that, right? And I think that has a lot to do with the planetary degrees in your natal chart as well. Like I told you, I got a high Saturn. So that's rules, regulation, and authority. So when I was running wild, my Mars is at a low degree. So I was running around using all that Mars energy, wilding. Authorities came down on me. Every time I got out of jail, I turn a corner, I get locked back up. I come out on probation, they running around with my picture, they lock me back up. I come out on parole, they running around with my picture, they lock me back up. I caught 3 cases for something I didn't do. So what? You going back in. Like, they was on me. You understand? So it might have something to do with that too. So parents, look at your children's natal chart, see where their Mars is in comparison to their Saturn, because you gotta remember Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So that structure will take your baby or take the baby energy and put it on a pedestal and reward it for all of their antics, right? And that's what you're seeing in the entertainment industry right now. That's why I'm making a point of this, or at least a large section of the entertainment industry, excuse me. So remember that. Now let's talk about how policing has changed since we on rules and regulations, right? Policing has changed when it comes to this whole thing, right? We done backed out of Iraq, backed out of Afghanistan, but this is the whole point of doing this video. What do you think America's gonna do next? Well, the good thing would be to focus on the environment and focus on job replacement, or at least job thinking, right? Because all of this technology is taking out jobs that humans would normally do. What is the human race going to do? You know, they talk about universal income. It's so much of a backlash to that. It's like, oh, how you gonna just tell us how much money we supposed to get a month? Something's going to have to happen, or this crime is going to keep increasing. So it's not the worst idea. I'm just keeping it a beam with you. That whole universe, that's not the worst idea. Trust me, because the more people are going without, the more you're gonna see them headline on these news things. And remember, we got 9th house of media in the sign of Leo. So everyone who wants to be braggadocious and showy, and like I said, a gangster wants to put his reputation out there as rapidly as possible, especially if they're making money from it. Not only are they going to do that, the media is going to do the same thing. They're going to put highlights up that express the same notion. Murder over here, gang capital here, this neighborhood over here. And now you got the law who is doing the same thing. They're clout chasing too. Now, there's certain ways to look at this, right? We got a lot of different cities in the United States. So, and I'm not one who is going to speak on gang culture or gang activity in Chicago. That's not my place. I will talk about the policing, though. And I see that their policing is kind of strange in comparison to New York's anyway. New York, since I was a kid, been big on sweeps, right? Big sweeps come through the block, take 20, 30 drug dealers at a time. You understand? Then when the RICO law came into act, New York was quick to start making these pyramid grabs. And you'd see it on the news. Pyramid of this, pyramid of that. You didn't have to be famous though. You in a gang or whatever the case may be, you in a structure that all y'all getting money and stuff like that, or y'all running guns or whatever, New York police was coming for you. Like, they played no games. Not only that, they will blow your head off in the middle of the street and think nothing about it. They've gotten away with it so many times. They don't play. They are trigger happy in New York. It's a double-edged sword. It's like, man, because when you see who they killing, you like, man. But also when you see who doing the crimes, and I mean the tangible criminal crimes, not the brain crimes, you see it do be our people. So it's like, damn, man, damn, you know? Not all the time, but a lot of the times. Just got to keep it a bean, yo. So it's bittersweet. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, this, because you're like, okay, well, gangsters are gonna stop doing all of this gangster activity or violent activity because they know the police gonna blow their head off. But it's still not all the time like that. Now, the recent situations with the law and stuff like that, they have been pulling back on budgets. They've been pulling back on the hop out boys. They used to have hop out boys for us, like that whole illegal frisk and all that. Like, that was, I caught a lawsuit for that. I sued New York for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was hopping out on us crazy, doing us greasy. You understand? That's gone now though. Not only that, the bail's gone now. You get locked up, you come right home. No bail. Chicago doing the same thing, right? Chicago though is a different animal because they don't look to solve the murders. They don't look to do sweeps and grabs and pyramid grabs like New York police do. New York police, they care to a certain degree. And if it's only to care about their reputation, then that's what it is. That's what they care about. They go hard for the reputation of policing. Chicago does not look like that at all. It looks like they have a different strategy when it comes to policing, and that is acquire the information, however, fall back. Don't do nothing about it. Let them cancel each other out, despite their city being eroded from every corner. It's just pervading. You know what I mean? They rather tackle crime in that type of way than to put themselves on front line like, I don't know, commandos would or something like that. You know what I mean? They're just not with it. So I want to make an emphasis on that policing is an issue. Policing is an issue because when we're looking at Aries energy and we're looking at war and warlords, you would say, okay, well, how is the policing changed in regards to this Aries kickoff set off by that Super Bowl ritual? And it's just like, well, they're lessened in a way when it comes to this. But when you look at the technology that they use to acquire the information, they got all the information, yo. They got all the information because of the internet. There's squadrons that play the internet all day, every day, collecting information on people as part of their job now. So it's like, do you blame them? If they do go put hands on something, they're going to get attacked by the people. So it's like, okay, acquire all the information. Don't lock them up until it becomes a case. That's the only state that's really policing right now is Georgia. Fulton County, Georgia. Shorty down there, she's not playing at all. But everybody else, and you can see it in the news clips. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we don't know, unknown gun assailants, unknown this, unknown car. They fled unknown direction. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. And it rattles the nerves of real investigators, or like natural born investigators like Pisces, Scorpio, Cancers. We get unnerved by this because we're like, we know what's going on. Without even living in these places, we know what's going on because we either following money trails, we following the headlines or this, that, or whatever is exposed, or just the downloads that we receive through walking through the neighborhoods, and you can just tell, you can feel what's going on. but you got reporters and police who are actually signed up to be investigators, and nobody knows what's going on. Come on. So this is just Cabin of the Woods 2.0. Y'all know I've talked about Cabin of the Woods before. If y'all need a recap, it's like this. These cameras put everywhere and everything. You think that for your safety, when all it really is entertainment on steroids. And the biggest of the elites are the people you don't know their names of and stuff like that. That's their television. Their television is the cameras that are placed everywhere, and they be like, oh, you heard about this murder over here, heard about this murder over there, and they at home or wherever in their office eating popcorn. This is their form of entertainment. This is their streaming of entertainment, and every country has their entertainment. Japan, all of them. It's like Cabin of the Woods. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but if you ever get a chance, go watch it. It's something that I completely did not. It got flat Earth theory in there and everything. It's not what I expected. I thought the movie was going to be corny. You got to watch it to the end because you might think it's corny. Like, yo, this shit is whack. Watch it to the end. Rituals. Watch it to the end. I ain't even going to say no more. But that's what's going on out here to a large degree. To a large degree. Until somebody wants to make their headline, whether it be gangster, whether it be law, whether it be politician. Now, like I said, okay, I made my point about the leaving Afghanistan. So the major point is the war is coming home. The war is coming home. Like, I'm gonna tell you. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna tell you. I feel like I can't even tell you. The arms. America's armed up, yo. I mean, of course, you know, Second Amendment, stuff like that. But let me tell you, man, there is guns in America that you wouldn't believe. That you would not believe. And you may not know where they're not all coming from these gun stores either, yo. They are not. That's all I'm going to say. You put the pieces together. Reading between the lines of what I'm saying right now. So let's get into this whole internet thing. The internet was birthed in college. It was either like Yale or Camden or something, one of those prestigious colleges. That's where the internet was made. 1980, the year I was born. So the college students had it first. They passed it to who next? The military. The military got the internet first. All right? Military, Aries, warlords. So they was playing with it. They was doing trial and error and everything with it first. So put the pieces together, right? Passed down to the CIA, FBI, so on and so forth. So remember when you seen cell phones started off with the intelligence agencies in the military. You know, the whole phone in it. When you seen Secret Service protecting the politicians and stuff like that, they had that ear thing on their ear with the cord coming down it, going down into their shirt. Those were cell phones. Then it became commercialized. And when the internet became commercialized, the merchants hit the floor running without even fully knowing the capability, the capacity of it, right? But the college students did. The military did. And the intelligence agencies did. They operated with it hands-on. They understood this thing front to back. Merchants, they want to do what? Make money, right? So they just hit the floor running. Blah, blah, blah. Now they hire the college students. Hey, I want you to teach this whole internet, computer building, website thing. Remember the 2.0, the 2001 internet crash, web crash? How much the stocks went up and got inflated? What happened was a whole lot of students got hired and a whole lot of more students got educated. And when the bubble burst, those jobs that they swore up and down that they was going to get, they did not get. Some of them got it. You know, we got Silicon Valley out of it and stuff like that. But the hype that was behind it and everybody who took computer science and all that was left with an education in their hands, some student debt, and no job. What do you think happened to those people? What do you think happened to those students? Again, I ain't going to say anything. Y'all put the pieces together and read in between the lines. So I say that to say this, right? Scorpio is also, or Uranus is exalted inside of Scorpio. So this is where the lowly gets exalted, right? It might not just be heroism, though. jealousy gets exalted. The sign of Scorpio rules over jealousy. So if I see this person, not me, but if so-and-so, person A, sees person B with all this stuff on, being showy, being Leo-like, right? And they're a prominent figurehead now because of their fame, their status, their recognition, which makes them like, whether they're a celebrity, whatever the case may be. An Aries, right? An individual, an entrepreneur that is set on a pedestal amongst other people, that can get a person jealous. And then the next thing you know, they coming for their stuff. And they might not just want the stuff, they want to kill them too. Don't even want you being in TV no more and all that stuff. I'm tired of you being with all these girls or whatever. We don't even want you here no more. The lowly takes you out, right? This is celebrated. Not celebrated. Let me refrain from that. It's exalted. If you turn on YouTube right now and you go look at rap lyrics, drill lyrics is in the forefront. These videos get millions of views in an instant. But this is organic. I know they got streaming forms and stuff like that, but if you want to look at grassroots entertainment, the coach, I can't stand that word because of what has been done to it, but the urban landscapes have the highest potential of organically producing views and stuff like that, because the people are going to flock to that stuff. The people in the hood are going to flock to some hood mentality shit when it's put on TV, bottom line. So those numbers get accelerated quickly. So what do you think merchants do when it comes to that? Again, I'm not going to pinpoint who, I don't know what label, what, I don't know, right? But I'm just saying, put the pieces together, reading between the lines. So I done told you all of the mental capacities of each player on the board here, from the lord to the gangster to the entrepreneur. So where's the money? Where's my point is, the war is at home. The war's at home. Ain't no need to send no guns over there and guns over there and guns. There's guns bigger than Bow Wow right in our backyard. You understand? The war is at home. The Super Bowl said it. How many homegrown terrorist acts have you seen since that Super Bowl? Y'all can get in the comment section and list them, not to degrade anybody or make a spectacle, but to make a point for educational purposes of how many incidents have occurred since the Super Bowl, since the Rams won the Super Bowl. How many acts of war, because that's what they are. They are acts of war. And not for nothing, I'm going to just slide this in there. Like this whole files being taken away from the White House and put over there. Like, I believe the Trump dude has a real sense of patriotism to him. Now, what that means to him obviously means something different than what patriotism means to everyone else. And I get it. Some people agree with him wholeheartedly. And then, but it's scattered. Everybody's idea of patriotism is different. But that's some scary shit, because if I know anything about this country, it's that can and might be used as a ploy for a whole lot of stuff that's about to occur. Oh, it's because of the leaked files. And Lord knows what time it's going to be by the time we figure out what's on those files. So you and I may not know exactly what to look for. Hopefully you get some prophetic dreams or something like that that'll show you the way. Godspeed. But if not, can you imagine the potential dangers that are out there because of that type of breach? That's not the only breaches though, right? I just got an email saying, a couple of your emails are compromised. You might want to change it up. Like, how y'all rule over this area of my life, and y'all don't got to figure it out. I got to get involved now. I got to learn all of this internet stuff and everything. And it's just like, it is what it is, right? The scammers taking all of the money, and it just is what it is. But this is what I mean about the merchants hitting the floor running, not having the full capacity of understanding what this internet is capable of doing. They just wanted to make money. And with that, look what happened. Shit got messy, it got sloppy, and now you got brainiacs who know the internet front to back, who are large-scale criminals now, because their nation did not have a place for them after they got their degrees. And I'm not saying that you should wait for a job from somebody after you come from college. I told you I don't even get down like that. But they could have came out and said, yo, I'm gonna make my own company, I'm gonna do this X, Y, and Z. But you gotta understand it's gonna be hard if the industry is not tapping into that, into the welcoming of that, unless you're dealing with the venture capitalists. And that's exactly how it happened. That's how that industry even became what it is today, is because of the venture capitalists. Let's keep it a beam, right? So let's get back to the Uranus thing. But the Uranus thing is it exalted in Scorpio. Scorpio rules over the underworld as well, you know. So the criminals now have a face of power like they didn't have before. You understand? And there's a hero element tied to it sometimes. There's a heroic element tied to it sometimes. That's what I'm saying. I've been on both sides of the track. I'm not shunning a gangster for coming where he comes from, not having the proper education, the wherewithal to know what it is that they need to do to become successful at anything. So they did what they did, and it led into whatever it is that they're doing now. You know, I know those types of stories. I've seen them time and time again. They become, whether it's just wealthy or whether they become philanthropists after, whatever the case may be, at least they made something out of this situation, you know. So Scorpio rules over heroism too. There's a heroism element tied to that sometimes. Sometimes it's not, you know. Sometimes it's just, look, Scorpio also rules over death, you know. And a lot of us like to say, a lot of us in the spiritual community, we like to say, death doesn't mean actually dying, because we don't want to say the worst of it, the worst part of it. You know what I'm saying? We say the part that's the death of something in order for something new to be reborn, transformation, right? However, in the back of our minds, we all do know that that's how a lot of deaths happen and a lot of things are reborn. Like when someone dies in your family, someone new is born into your family. We just got to keep it a beam with ourselves and recognize that that's a thing until it's no more. So again, this whole internet thing, now you see it. You see the cabin of the woods. You turn on the internet and you see it. And I'm not saying that you got to. You got to look for this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I look for it personally because I got the education down pat. I'm in this corporate arena, but I'm no longer in the streets. But I'm from the streets, so I know better than to not still be street smart because I've reached a different level. Nah, I'm still going to be with my ear to the streets in some type of way. Even if I'm not immediately tapped in with the players, I'm going to be immediately tapped in through the internet, because a lot of these vlogs, they be knowing what they're talking about. You got to be able to decipher it and figure out which is which, what's the truth and what's not. You know, use your own discernment. But it's better for me to find out information from that source than to go back into the, you know what I'm saying, into that element. Be like, yo, you just here for information? What are you, a fucking cop? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the math won't math. I'm in a different space in my life, as I should be. So keep that in mind, y'all. So in closing, right, I want to say this: use tact and strategy, because Aries rules over war, right? So if you're gonna, now that you know that this is a thing, you should be aware of it. And I'm not saying that you have to be military. Like some of y'all, I know y'all gonna be like, you're gonna live your life the way that you want to live it. You're not gonna be fearful. Only God, God got you. If it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Fine, do what you want to do. For those of you who are aware, want to do something about it, use tact, use strategy, move militant. And when I say militant, I don't mean that you got to be armed up and stuff like that, because you got to realize where you're at. Like in some instances or some geographic locations, you can't be strapped up, so you got to actually deal with people in a certain way so that you refrain from getting into those type of situations to where you'd have to do something to someone. You know what I mean? But I'm still not saying don't go practice some ninjutsu or something, or go get some cans of mace and some pellet guns or whatever the case may be, some knives and daggers or whatever the case may be. Do your thing. Do your thing. My point is, use tact and use strategy. You might not want to travel in crowds. You might not want to travel with your girl and your kid. I said in those Aquarius videos back then, the most dangerous spots that's about to be is the events, the sporting areas, the events where concerts are being thrown, just like water parks, adventure parks, stuff like that, and restaurants. Go back to my older videos when I was talking about that Aquarius age stuff. Y'all gonna hear it? And now look, you want to go out, you want to look fly, it's about who you know, right? You want to look fly, you want to rub shoulders with the look. It ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Stop putting a house on your neck. What that mean? Yo, how are you? Look, my phone got the time. Your cell phone got the time. You trying to tell me you gonna spend a half a ticket on a watch? You gonna spend a whole ticket on a watch because some French dude made it? No disrespect to France, but I'm keeping it a bean right now. Like, my phone tells the time, dude. I got an ephemeris. I can look at the stars and tell what time it is. Like, what y'all doing out there? I could never be. I could never. I don't want to even hear that, oh, you ain't got the money shit. I could never be. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You know, I'll get it. A lot of y'all feel like, yo, I want to wear nice stuff. I'm going to do what I want. And don't get nobody the right to take my stuff. Yo, listen. They still will take your stuff. It don't matter if they got the right or not. And I'm not saying this is going to mandatory happen to y'all. I'm just saying that's not what criminals think of when they coming to take your stuff. They don't care about that camera or nothing. They don't care. So if you got to train your family members, especially your girl, and be like, yo, look, don't even tell nobody in your family where we're going. You understand what I'm saying? Before we leave to go there and how long we're going to be staying and all that. Don't do none of that. And if you moving like that, it's clipped for you. If you got to move, and this is you in the streets, if you a gangster, move like that. If you're a celebrity, if you're an entrepreneur, move like that, because you're not just anybody, because you got this big focal light on you. You got this big spotlight on you that says you're this, even if you don't feel you're as inflated as the media portrays you to be. It's too late. So if you got to tell your immediate people, look, this is how I'm moving, you know, call that number, don't call this number. Or don't even give them a certain number and stuff like that. Yo, it is what it is. And if they not trying to get with that, because they feel, oh, we free. Sometimes people feel entitled. They feel privileged. Like, oh, the law's going to protect it. The law going to protect who? Minorities? You cannot be that naive. They get on the news now. They don't even know what happened. They responders. The law responding. They're responding to stuff. They don't know what's happening before it happened. They're not true investigators. Like I said, some of them are. They acquire the information. They got all the information, but they ain't going in. They not going in. And like I said, it varies, right? So y'all put the pieces together. Look at Alyssa's video. Alyssa Sharp on YouTube. She's an astrologer. Look at her video, Saturn Return. I think it's the name of it, Saturn and its Return, or something like that. Teach your sons about this stuff. At least just tell them. It's your duty to at least tell them. Because when you see that video, you're gonna realize. Tell your daughters too, but you're gonna realize that it ain't but so much you can do between the ages of 14 and 28 for your kids. Your natal chart might say different, and if it is, if you're that type that's blessed like that, then kudos to you. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's not dealt the same hand. So those of you who struggle with your kids now and you know they out there, you know they like that, I'm telling you, watch that video so at least you know, and you know what to tell them. You may not be able to stop them or control them. You just gotta meditate on them reaching the age of 28, because right, that 27 club thing, how real is that? How many people passed away from the 27 club? I think it got something to do with the some star next to Leo. I should know this, but I ain't prepared this part. But it's like a star next, either Taurus or Leo or something like that, that triggers that, like, that part of a person's life that which develops that 27 club. But don't you think it's peculiar that it's right before your Saturn return? You get it? So you can only hope that your kids, and I say meditate, you can only meditate and at least be verbal with them and say, look, I'm going to tell you some things that I went through. Some of this information is objective. Whether I go through it, Bob goes through it, Jill goes through it, you go through it, it's all the same Saturn lesson. But if you feel you must go experience that for yourself, what else can I tell you? All I'm telling you right now is that you don't have to. Because this is the result from it. This is the consequence from it. And it's only a matter of time. You can put your foot down and change it, reroute right now. Or you could just find out what I'm telling you later and then have a conversation with me later and be like, yo, Dad, you was right about Mom, you was right about. Yeah, I know. You ain't getting over on us, we know. And it ain't gonna be everything, but the meat and potatoes, the basics, the fundamentals, we already know because we went through it before, y'all. Big Daddy Saturn Satan is up there just, But anything else I gotta say? Here's one more thing I gotta say. 50 Cent just won an Emmy for the halftime show. All right? Now, peep game. Y'all put the pieces together. I'm just telling y'all what has already been said, but put the pieces together. 50 Cent just won an Emmy for the halftime show. The Game wasn't even invited to perform, and he was part of that whole camp. The Super Bowl was in LA. The LA Rams won. Now, if I get to first thinking about this, I get to looking at how there's levels to this, and I guess you could say higher ups, authoritative figures, or those Aries prominent positions or entrepreneurial people looked at it as like they threw him the alley-oop too, and all he wanted to do was rap. Like, he didn't want to do nothing else but rap. Now, this is just me being speculative, right? Therefore, maybe they felt like he didn't want to play the game anymore, or play the game to the level that he could have possibly played it. And maybe that's why he didn't get the invitation. I'm not 100% sure. But I say look at that closely. Pick that apart. And don't let it turn into some East Coast, West Coast shit. Because I low-key kind of get that vibe. Like, like there could be some bitterness behind that. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it's 50's fault for winning. You won. But I'm telling y'all, reading between the lines, put the pieces together. I'm out.